All right, buddy, welcome back to Ox Talks. I really appreciate you tuning in to the show today and watching the video. Please like and share the video, and please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We are growing the community. I appreciate each and every one of you. Today's story I'm going to cover about Navient, a student loan servicer, is extremely important information. So would you please do me a favor and make sure anybody possibly affected by this gets this information, watches this video, because this is, I think it's potentially far-reaching, and it's a long time in the coming as far as I'm concerned, okay? But again, I appreciate you guys watching. CNBC broke this story this morning early about Navient being banned and fined for their unlawful and predatory practices having to do with student loan borrowers. But I wanted to dig a little deeper than just the CNBC story, and so I pulled up a much more detailed, information from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and this is September 12th, 2024, okay, dated today. It says CFPB bans Navient from federal student loan servicing and orders the company to pay $120 million for wide-ranging student lending failures. This is a pretty extensive article. I'm going to go through it, take my time, because I think it's very, very important. Whether it affects you directly, it might affect a grandchild of yours, or a son, or a daughter, or a niece and nephew who has student loans that have been serviced through Navient. Navient has been servicing, I read 12, I think it's in this article, 12 million student loan accounts. It says out of Washington, D.C. today, the CFPB filed a proposed order against the student loan servicer Navient for its years of failures and law-breaking. If entered by the court, the proposed order would permanently ban the company from servicing federal direct loans, and it would forbid the company from directly servicing or acquiring most loans under the Federal Family Education Loan Program. These bans would largely remove Navient, it says, from a market where it, among other illegal actions, steered numerous student loan borrowers into costly repayment options. Navient also illegally deprived student borrowers of opportunities to enroll in more affordable, income-driven repayment plans and forced them to pay much more than they should have. Under the terms of the order, Navient would have to pay a $20 million penalty and provide $100 million in redress for harmed borrowers. You might say, well, that's really not that much money, but it's not that. It's the fact that they're going to hopefully be curtailed in the future from continuing with their abuses. And if you stick around and watch the video, which I ask you to please do, you'll see there have been years of repeated abuses. They've had their hands slapped, they've paid fines, and they just didn't ever take long-term corrective action. So hopefully this will put an end to it. A lot of people are forced to go take out student loans if they want to get through school. I took out student loans. I believe Navient even serviced loans for me many, many, many years ago for my law school because my family couldn't afford to pay for the tuition. So I wanted to go to law school, and so I had to go borrow, which turned out to be a pretty healthy sum of money. And it took me many, many years to pay that back. But I recall the whole deferments, and the forbearances. When you first come out of school, you're not making any money, and you're hit with all these obligations. So I understand the pressure that students, of all ages that have had to take out loans they want to better themselves through higher education. And look, I'm not a proponent for loan forgiveness. I repaid my loans. It's an obligation. When you have an obligation, you honor it, okay? But that's not what this is about. This is about really almost like predatory, practices. Let me continue. For years, Navient's top executives profited handsomely by exploiting students and taxpayers. And CFPB Director Rohit Chopra says, quote, by banning the notorious student loan giant from federal student loan servicing and ensuring the wind down of these operations, the CFPB will finally put an end to years of abuse. He says, I applauded the CFPB for obtaining concrete relief for borrowers and deterring similar failures in the future, said U.S. Undersecretary of Education James, I think it's Caval. The CFPB's investigation of Navient kicked off a series of efforts by state and federal agencies to examine forbearance steering and other breakdowns in the income-driven repayment program. Those efforts have resulted in more than $50 billion in debt relief, it says, for more than 1 million borrowers who were wrongly steered into forbearance, as well as those who had payments miscounted. And a lot of these people are younger. They're still young. They're in their 20s and 30s when they come out and they have these loans, and to not be given or to be given inaccurate information in order to further line the pockets of the executives of this company is atrocious. All right, so I'll continue. Navient is headquartered in Herndon, Virginia, and was formerly known as Sallie Mae. At the time of CFPB's lawsuit in 2017, Navient was the largest student loan servicer in the United States. It serviced student loans of more than 12 million borrowers, including more than 6 million accounts under its contract with the Department of Education. Altogether, it serviced more than $300 billion in federal and private student loans. During the period covered in the CFPB's lawsuit, the company was led by CEO Jack Remondi, Remondi. Remondi orchestrated the launch of Navient out of Sallie Mae. Since the launch of Navient, the company's performance has lagged others in the industry. Last year, Navient's board of directors replaced Remondi and began to transition the company away from its sordid history. Well, it sounds like it was a little bit too late, right? CFPB sued Navient for failing borrowers at every stage of repayment. The lawsuit alleges that Navient steered borrowers who may have qualified for income-driven repayment plans into forbearance instead. You know what's happening during forbearance is all that interest continues to pile on. This practice was cheaper and simpler for Navient, but detrimental to the borrowers. By steering struggling borrowers into forbearance where interest continues to accrue and capitalize, Navient's illegal actions led numerous borrowers to pay additional interest charges. And here we go about the history. It says Navient is a repeat offender with a long history of regulatory violations. After a referral from the CFPB in 2014, the Department of Justice and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation ordered Navient and its predecessor, Sallie Mae, to pay almost $100 million for illegally overcharging nearly 78,000 service members. In 2021, the Department of Education ordered Navient to return more than $22 million in overcharges. In 2022, 39 state attorneys general announced a $1.85 billion settlement with Navient for originating predatory student loans in addition to its forbearance steering practices. So it looks like Navient had its hands in a whole lot of cookie jars here, right? And who was benefiting from that? In 2021, Navient's contract with the Department of Education to service direct student loans finally ended. And then it says they announced in early 2024 that they intended to transfer the servicing of its remaining loans to another servicer. Okay, so it says that this order would ensure that Navient can never harm federal student loan borrowers at scale by getting back into the business of directly servicing federal student loans or growing its federal family education loan program loan portfolio. All right, and then it details what they did, but we just covered it briefly. It's a whole page explaining it further. Let me give you the headings. Misleading borrowers about income-driven repayment plans, number one. Number two, botching payment processing. Number two. Number three, harming the credit of disabled borrowers, including severely injured veterans. Let me read this one. Navient tarnished the credit reports and borrowers who had received a discharge on their federal student loans due to a total and permanent disability. Next, deceiving borrowers about Navient's requirements for cosigner release. We did a video on cosigners. It was my first episode of Stay Out of Court. It has about 30 or so thousand views. You guys haven't seen that? Go check it out. Let me read you the section here about the cosigner release. Navient made representations to private loan borrowers that if they paid down their loans in a certain way, they could apply for their cosigner to be released. But Navient did not honor those representations for some borrowers, meaning the cosigners of those loans stayed on the hook for the obligation. Misleading borrowers about improving credit scores and the consequences of federal student loan rehabilitation. Said for federal student loan borrowers whose loans went into default, Navient's debt collection arm promised credit reporting relief to borrowers if they completed a rehabilitation program. Navient failed to deliver on all of the promised relief. So, guys, pretty unbelievable. Looks like pretty broad sweeping smackdown of Navient, which will be $100 million redress to consumers. Will be required to provide $100 million in redress for affected consumers and pay a $20 million penalty. Let me just briefly cover, if you guys potentially are able to get some relief, let me read this to you so you don't get taken advantage of. And please share this with family, loved ones, anybody who has Navient loans or had Navient loans being serviced or loans being serviced by Navient over the past, many, many years. It says borrower relief. The CFPB will mail checks to consumers who are eligible to obtain redress under the settlement. Consumers do not need to do anything to obtain redress and should be aware of scammers that may try to use CFPB employees' names and imagery to try to steal money or private information. The CFPB will never require consumers to pay money to obtain redress, nor will they ask for additional information before consumers can cash a redress check that we've issued. On the CFPB's webpage, consumers can obtain general information about the redress check. So guys, let me shut this monitor off. Guys, there's going to be a whole nother scam pop up here where people say, oh, they're going to jump in and create another fraud, try to reach out to potential Navient customers and say, look, we'll help you process this redress check. Just give us some information or give us your bank account. Guys, don't do it. There'll be another layer of scammers that try to capitalize on this. Go to the CFPB, okay? CFP as in Paul, B as in boy, website and read up on it for yourself and don't get taken advantage of. But look, I'm not shedding any tears for Navient today from reading this, and it's actually encouraging that a government arm actually accomplished something. So hats off on that one. Thanks for watching. A little bit long today, but I thought it was very, very important to take my time and explain this to you. Please share it. Please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all of you. Talk to you soon. Bye.